So I wanted to just kind of speak a little bit from the heart today on really cool matter. So my wife is just recently past the 28-week mark with the pregnancy of our first child. We're having a little boy. His name's going to be Elijah. And I just wanted to do a little bit of a segment today to talk about something just for him. And so it seems a little strange that I would be doing something for a public format that would be directed directly at my son, but I really thought it would be good to have other people here. I'm not a parenting expert by any stretch of the imagination. I haven't done this before, but I just know that I have a lot of these feelings inside me about what it means for us to be raising a little man and to be growing up in this age that I'd just like to get off my chest and share just for this. And I know that possibly through the sharing of this, it can help some people. Maybe they'll resonate with it. Maybe they'll understand what it is that I'm feeling or talking about as I'm going through it. And so for my son today, I'd like you to know that I want you to value kindness above everything else. I think that our society has done a really terrible job of presenting to us what we ought to act like and ought to be and how we should act. I think that viciousness and trolling and online evil and just slandering other people's character and just being generally not nice has just characterized much of our society. We have done a terrible job as a people to show up and just be kind to other people. And so I think that above everything, I want you to be a kind man. I want you to grow up showing kindness towards others. I want you to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want you to be willing to be wronged even so that you can love them. Like if someone does something to you, I want you to be able to forgive those people. Jesus in the Gospels talks about how that his people, his disciples, are to be those type of people that forgive others. In the Lord's Prayer, he assumes that to be the case, that that you will be ones who forgiven just as we have been forgiven. And so my prayer for you, Elijah, is that you will show kindness to others. You'll show forgiveness to others. As we kind of look around out at society, as we look around at our lives, like when was the last time you just met someone who just radiated that kind of character? I know that it's not too often for me. I aim to be that person. I try to be someone who cares about other people, who shows that consideration. But I truly wonder, like, if we've lost something very significant about this. When was the last time you've done something important for another person just because? When was the last time you weren't posturing or you didn't try to expect something out of another person whenever you did them a favor? When was the last time that you were truly altruistic and you truly wanted to do something just for their benefit, just because you wanted to see them smile? I know that for me, the answer is not very often. In these days of COVID, it's been so hard to, I think, just have normal human relations with other people. It's been very difficult to just interact and engage with the people around us. I know that in our house, we moved into a new house here last year in the middle of the pandemic. And so with that, I mean, we've met a few people and we've had, good conversations, but we've not been able to connect on a really deep level with other people. And I think one of the main things my wife and I wanted to do as we got here was to go and reach out to our neighbors. And we've done a little bit. We've met our neighbors on either side of us, but we haven't really tried to be actively engaged in them. We haven't really tried to actively love them. And so I know that, moving forward, I hope that we will get to spend more time with them. We'll get to do more of the things that can help them. And I hope that they would feel comfortable with us to ask us to do those things and that we would be willing in that moment to say yes. And so my son, I hope that as you grow and as you develop, as you learn, I just pray that you can share. I pray that you can learn to play and play nicely with others. I hope that you're able to handle defeat graciously and victory graciously, and I want you to just be able to handle it in such a way that arrogance doesn't creep deep into your heart and into your mind, and I want you to always learn to smile with love, even if you've been hurt and wounded. I think back to so many of the things that have hurt me over my life with bad failed relationships or with just friendships breaking up for stupid reasons or a whole host of things. And I think to the times, have I been kind in those? And I think too often the answer has been no. And so I'm just hoping and praying that you will be able to, especially listening to this in the future, whenever you're a little more grown, that you'll be able to make the decision to be kind in those moments. When it's darkest, can you be kind? When it's sun shining outside and it feels good, can you be kind? There's a place for being smart. I hope you're that too. There's a place for being strong and physically active. And I hope you're that too. I hope you love those things. And playful and funny and wonderful in every so many ways. Like there's so many ways that I want you to be excelling in. But if there was just one thing, I think that kindness to a society and generation that has largely lost it would be so much. And I really think this is probably even more in the concept of love. Like, how can you love other people? I want you to be able to love other people with abandon. I look to the example we have in Jesus on the cross, willing to die for the other people. And man, to love with that kind of reckless level would be incredible. I know he's our example, and for those of you who follow Jesus and have tried to live that life, you know how hard it is to live up to that example. But I'm just praying and hoping that I can be that type of father to my son. I'm hoping that he will be that type of man, and that my example leads him to that, and that as we grow him and teach him and help discipline him into that type of man he should be, I just hope that he learns to be that kind of person where he doesn't ever lose that spark. He doesn't ever let his selfishness take precedence over the love of the other person, that he's able to grow and do all of those things, that he is able to love his neighbor as himself, is able to love even people that attack him as himself. So for my son, I hope that above all else you be kind. Thank you for taking time to listen to this. I hope that it encouraged you. I hope that maybe if you're in that position already, that maybe you can hope for the same thing, that your kiddos can be kind and loving to others. And I just hope that we can learn to model that better, that this is a kind of a wake-up call for those of us who just haven't been living in that depth of life and that depth of character, that we could do something impressive with the way that we live, that it might be that shining light to our children. So I hope it encourages you in some way today. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next time.